In the bustling heart of Ibadan, a small circle of friends sat in the back corner of their favorite local cafe. The air was thick with laughter and the sweet scent of puff puff. Amid the chatter, Nifemi noticed something strange. Her phone buzzed, but when she glanced at it, instead of the usual notifications from her group's chat, she saw nothing. "Has anyone seen the latest pictures from Wales' party?" she asked, expecting the usual ribbing about her absence. Tolu shrugged, tapping her phone. "Maybe they didn't post them yet." Nifemi frowned. "That's odd. I just saw everyone posting in the group yesterday." As the evening wore on, Nifemi couldn't shake the uneasy feeling. Her phone buzzed again, a message from Tolu. "Did you see the group chat?" it read, followed by screenshots of a conversation she was not included in. "We decided," one message read, "Nifemi doesn't belong in this chat anymore." Bimpa's name was above the text. Nifemi's heart raced. She gripped the phone tightly, trying to steady her breath. The next day, Nifemi sat on her bed staring at her screen. A flurry of questions danced in her mind. Why was she removed? Their group had been inseparable since secondary school. Her friends, her family, talking without her? It stung. She texted Bimpe directly. "What's going on?" Silence. Then a single reply. "It's better this way. Let's all give it time." Nifemi's fingers trembled as she tossed her phone aside. Days turned into uncomfortable silence. At work, Nifemi's mind was elsewhere, and her supervisor noticed. "Nifemi, are you with us?" he beckoned, raising an eyebrow. Yes, sir," she stammered, the sting of embarrassment joining her growing cocktail of emotions. Lunch breaks, once buzzing with conversation with her friends, were now empty. She felt alone, with only her thoughts as company. Over the next week, Bimpe's betrayal seeped into every part of Nifemi's life. Their friends grew distant, interactions stilted, punctuated by awkward silence. Others began whispering about Nifemi's exclusion, the whispers cutting deeper than the silence. "What happened?" a colleague asked, sympathy lacing her voice. Nifemi just shook her head, unable to explain without revealing too much or breaking down. When Nifemi finally gathered the courage to confront Bimpe in person, the encounter was anything but soothing. "Bimpe, what did I do wrong?" Nifemi asked quietly, her voice brimming with the desperation of unspoken injustices. "Not everything's about you, Nifemi," Bimpe replied, her gaze sharp. "We decided we needed a change." A change. The word smacked of insincerity, but Bimpe refused to explain further. Her smile, once a comfort, now felt like a knife. The weekend brought no relief. Nifemi withdrew, each mention of her friends digging into wounds not yet healed. Social gatherings became painful reminders of her exclusion. Once the center of lively evenings, she now found herself on the outskirts looking in. Her mother noticed her distress. "What happened, my dear?" Nifemi hesitated. "Friends. They've shut me out." Her mother sighed deeply, worn with age and wisdom. "Don't let their shadows dim your light." Determined to find the truth, Nifemi started piecing together stories from various mutual friends. The puzzle pieces did not fit at first, but slowly a picture formed. A cunning plan by Bimpe to turn the group against her, all stemming from jealousy and insecurity. "You were always the star," an old friend Dio, mumbling at her doorstep, revealed late one night. Bimpe couldn't stand it. Nifemi's mixed emotions simmered, but the desire for justice burned brighter with each revelation. In those moments of realization, Nifemi's pain morphed into determination. She began collecting evidence, the screenshots Tolu shared, her own exchanges with Bimpe. She knew now that her situation required shrewdness. But before taking any overt action, she wanted to see how far Bimpe would go, to see what lengths Bimpe would stretch to defend her deceitful kingdom. Nifemi needed answers, and perhaps a confrontation. Tolu, wavering with guilt, reached out. "Meet me." Her message was unusually forthcoming. In the quiet corner of a cafe, Tolu spilled more details. "They've been spreading lies, Nifemi," Tolu admitted, "but you have to fight back." Nifemi nodded slowly, her mind a whirlpool of thoughts. She wasn't one to wallow. It was time to act, but in a way that would reveal the heart of the deception. With resolve hardening within her, she knew she couldn't face this alone. Nifemi decided to confront the truth head-on, not with anger, but with undeniable proof. She spent long nights gathering digital evidence, detailing every slanderous comment, every baseless rumor. Her path to vindication became clearer. One afternoon, she discovered something critical. Bimpy had been sending damaging messages about her not just in their group chat, but also to mutual friends. The sting of betrayal intensified, but so did her resolve. The turning point came with a nudge from her friend Dio. "You need to see how low she went," he insisted, handing over more screenshots. They showed Bimpe orchestrating a smear campaign, leaving Nifemi aghast. To Dio, Nifemi said, "I didn't want to believe someone could be so cruel." Dio's eyes softened. "We'll help you, whatever you choose to do." Armed with evidence and newfound allies, Nifemi made the decision. It was time to expose the truth, not to hurt Bimpe, but to reclaim her peace. She booked a consultation with a lawyer who advised a legal mediation where the truth would be laid bare. On the day of the meeting, Nifemi stood outside the office door, her heart pounding with anticipation. Justice was within reach, and with it, the respect she had once lost. As she sat in the meeting room, scattered documents in front of her, Nifemi sensed the shifting tide. Her lawyer presented the evidence calmly, while Bimp's face paled with incredulity. "You really went that far?" Bimpe stammered, her composure failing. "All I wanted," Nifemi said quietly, "was the truth. I'm not here for revenge, just respect and honesty." Bimpe's eyes widened as the magnitude of her actions hit home. In that moment, Nifemi realized the strength of standing firm in her truth. But as she left, a trap lay ahead. Bimpe's desperate plea for understanding, laying blame on stress and envy. But would Nifemi forgive, or choose a path where friendship meant loyalty and trust, setting the stage for a dramatic encore? The cliffhanger remained as Nifemi walked out, with a quiet, undetermined future awaiting her. Nifemi stepped out of the lawyer's office with a mix of emotions swirling in her heart. Bimpe's frail attempt to explain her betrayal had left a bitter taste. The evidence of the lies could no longer be hidden, and the truth was now in the open for all to see. As she made her way through the busy market street, she couldn't ignore the hushed whispers that trailed her steps. Her own reputation, once shining and untarnished, had been dragged through the mud. Now, those around her knew the reality, knew that her silence had not been weakness, but a formidable strength. Later that evening, in her small, cozy apartment, Nifemi sat across from her mother, who had come to visit. "Omo mi," her mother began gently. "Do you feel better now that Bimpe has been exposed?" Nifemi stayed silent for a moment, contemplating. "I wanted to," she admitted, "but all that effort to prove the truth, it doesn't erase the hurt or the loss of what we had." "And yet," her mother continued, "truth is powerful, Nifemi. It's a light in darkness." "Yes, but now the darkness feels lonelier," Nifemi whispered, tears threatening her voice. The following day, the news of the confrontation spread quickly among their social circles. Some friends reached out, expressing apologies for doubting her. Others, from fear or shame, remained silent. Nifemi felt a deep chasm. She had the truth, but still felt so isolated. During her lunch break, Tolu approached her, eyes filled with remorse. "Nifemi, can we talk?" "Tolu?" Nifemi hesitated, the betrayal still fresh. "Why did you wait so long to tell me?" "I was scared," Tolu confessed, her voice cracking. "I followed the crowd and not my heart. I'm sorry." Nifemi nodded, a small crack in her armor appearing. "It hurts," she admitted, "but I miss our friendship." As the weekend approached, Nifemi's resolve to find closure deepened. She decided to call a meeting with all her friends, including Bimpe. The location was set at her home, a place where they had shared countless memories. When they all gathered, an uncomfortable silence hung in the air. Nifemi stood before them, feeling vulnerable yet determined. "We need to talk openly, not for revenge, but for peace," she started, her heart pounding. Bimpe, sitting stiffly, seemed smaller than her usual confident self. "What do you want from me, Nifemi?" she asked, her voice wavering. Nifemi sighed. "I want to understand why, Bimpe. Why you felt you had to destroy what we had." Bimpe looked down, shame and guilt wrestling within her. "Because I felt overshadowed," she finally admitted, voice barely above a whisper. "You shone so brightly, and I was just there." Nifemi's heart ached, anger simmering but mingled with a deep sense of loss. "We were friends, Bimpe. Your light was not dimmed by mine." "I see that now," Bimpe whispered, eyes glistening with tears. The tension in the room was palpable. A mutual friend who had stayed silent till now spoke up. "This isn't just about the two of you," Dio said quietly. "We've all been part of this mess, and it's not too late to make things right." Nifemi nodded, her resolve clearer now. "We've let envy and misunderstanding drive us apart, but I want us to heal, to rebuild, if that's even possible." Tolu, seated beside Bimpe, reached for her hand. "I'm ready to try," she said softly. As the meeting continued, truth poured out in raw, painful confessions. Hearts were broken, but in the brokenness there was a glimmer of hope. It was not easy, and the scars would take time to heal. That evening, relief washed over Nifemi. Though the journey was far from finished, she stood by her window, gazing out at the stars, feeling the weight of the past weeks slowly lifting. The next day at church, Nifemi found herself in a quiet corner, knees bent in prayer. Her heart, still burdened but hopeful, yearned for guidance. "God," she whispered, "help me find forgiveness for Bimpe, for myself. Show me a way to let this pain become something meaningful." Pastor Sola noticed her there and approached with a warm, understanding smile. "Forgiveness is a powerful thing, Nifemi," he said gently. "It doesn't erase what's happened, but it releases you from the burden of carrying it alone." As Pastor Sola spoke of peace, Nifemi felt a quiet shift within her. "I thought revenge would give me peace," she confessed, eyes brimming with tears. "But it didn't. Only Christ can." The pastor nodded. "We can carry these burdens to Him, and He grants us the strength to love again, even when it's hard." Nifemi nodded, a deep sigh escaping her lips. "I want that strength." Returning home, Nifemi felt a new warmth in her heart. She wore her Christian faith quietly, intricately woven into her identity, but now felt it in a more profound way. She sat down, her Bible resting nearby. Her thoughts turned to the story of Joseph. Betrayal, redemption, forgiveness. It spoke to her in a way she hadn't understood before. In the week that followed, Nifemi took small steps to rebuild. She reached out to Bimpe not with accusations, but with a promise of healing. "I forgive you, Bimpe," she wrote, "and I hope we can in time find a way back to understanding." Bimpe's reply was slow to come, but when it did, it was filled with heartfelt regret and an earnest desire to mend their fractured friendship. "I need to let go too," Bimpe responded. "Thank you for your forgiveness. It's more than I deserve." For Nifemi, this wasn't the end, but a new beginning. In the midst of rebuilding friendships, she realized the importance of her journey in God's light. Her heart still hurt, but instead of revenge, it now sought restoration. On a bright Sunday morning, Nifemi joined her fellowship with a lighter spirit. She looked around at familiar faces, feeling not alone, but part of a community that would help her grow. The pastor's voice echoed through the room as he spoke of love beyond hurt, of grace beyond betrayal. "Forgiveness isn't weakness," he said, his words resonating deeply with Nifemi. "It's warfare, a battle won not with anger, but with love." After the service, Nifemi walked up to Bimpe, who had been attending with her. "I'm glad you're here," she said, a genuine smile touching her lips. Bimpe smiled back, tentatively but gratefully. "So am I. Thank you for not giving up on me." Nifemi nodded, feeling the seeds of hope sprouting within her. Together they stood, watching as others filed out, each step marking their journey towards a fresh start. As she walked away, Nifemi knew not everything was resolved, but important things had changed. She saw that revenge had nearly destroyed her, but through Christ she was finding her way back. It would take time, rebuilding trust, healing wounds, but for the first time in a long while, she felt she was on the right path. In the corner of her room, her Bible lay open. An old story read anew, a reminder of lights shining brighter after the storm. And with a heart more open than ever, Nifemi embraced the future, where forgiveness and faith held the power to heal.
Thank you so much for listening to this intriguing story. I hope it touched you or taught you something. For more stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the page. And guys, if you'd like to see a part 2 or you have thoughts on what happened, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.